你好，欢迎致电打个电话给你，普通话请按1。Hello, welcome to One Call Away podcast. For English, please press 2. 你好，歡迎嚟到打個電話俾你，廣東話請按3字。Hello everyone, welcome back to One Call Away. This is again a English episode. And today I've got another very dear friend of mine in Hong Kong with me. This is also in the little series I'm having about misconceptions of Hong Kong, because this is my 10th year living in Hong Kong, and I am just trying to do more topics around this place, this amazing city I'm living in. Without further ado, let's welcome Crystal, the one and only Crystal. Yay!
Hi everyone.
Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit? Where you're from? Who are you? How did you know me? Why are you here? What do you do?
Well, so I'm born and bred in Hong Kong, from Hong Kong. I am a trained actor. I also teach theater and drama, and I sometimes work with Wendy, and that's how we met.
Yeah. So I guess we can quickly jump into the first misconception people have, well, I also had for Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
You're from Hong Kong.
Right.
And we're speaking English right now.
Yeah.
And because Clarissa was also in my previous episode,
mm-hmm.
and she represented native English speaker born and raised in Hong Kong,
mm-hmm.
versus you don't look like her.
No, I don't look like Clarissa.
You look like me.
Yeah.
I have seen a lot of people from Hong Kong who speaks really good English.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's a misconception. I think that's a fact. Hong Kong people in general just speaks really good English.
I think it really depends on your circle though.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, but yeah, sure.
And any idea how? Could you share a bit of your English learning experience? How did you go to international school? Did you study it abroad? How did you pick up English?
Right. I was just going to say that. I was just going to say, disclaimer, I didn't go to international schools. I desperately wanted to as a child, but that's besides the point. I think I'm just really curious about the language as a child. And in Hong Kong, all the signs are in both Chinese and English, right? And so growing up, I'm always asking my mom, what does that say and what does that mean? Pointing at all the signs and all the everything. I don't know, restaurant signs or road signs and everything like that. So I'll be asking, or if there's a road construction, you'll see both Chinese and English notices.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of my curiosity. And then I just had really good teachers along primary school and secondary school. And, when you show interest in something and you actually do quite well, then you just more invested into learning more. And also my mum helped a lot. My mum speaks fluent English as well, and she used to tape a piece of paper on the TV to block out the subtitle. Oh, wow. So me and my brother would practice our listening.
Oh, wow. Wait, but what kind of TV shows you were watching?
ER. We have
What's
that on
ER?
TV Pearl all the time.
What's ER?
ER is a hospital situation show.
Oh.
And then, people come in, and then there's a lot of medical jargon and...
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't think I can watch that without subtitle if it's a medical term heavy show.
Yeah, but it's one of those that has also a lot of relationship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
K-drama
vibe.
vibe.
It's drama
vibe.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's set in a hospital and whatnot. But yeah, I think that sums up the English learning journey. And once I'm fluent, it's just second nature. I remember there was a point when my dream is in English instead of Cantonese.
I had that too. Yeah.
Was it like...
No, because I think it was my dad who told me in the morning, he said, you were speaking in English last night.
Ah.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, did I? Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was quite young as well. But did you go to, because you said you start to invest more in this language. Did you go to like 補習班?
No, actually, I never
補習班, it's like for English audience, it's like
tutoring centers.
Yeah.
No, it's actually really trendy in Hong Kong to go to tutoring centers, especially, I don't know now, but like especially when I was in school, like majority of my class would go there after
Would you feel
school.
left out if you don't go to one?
I kind of did, but my mom was just like, you don't need that. But I'm like, I want to go. I want to hang out with my friends. But it doesn't matter. So no, I never actually went to tutoring centers. But what I mean by investing more is like I would challenge myself, right? I would say, you know, can I say this? Or I would, what I did actually, I remember, two things. So nerdy. So one thing is that I would like look in the mirror, talking to myself and saying, what are you feeling right now?
Oh, wow.
And like challenging myself to
express,
to like, do I know how to say this in English? And then the second nerdy thing is I used to read the dictionary. Like,
excuse me?
I used to just get so bored at home that I would take the dictionary off the bookshelf and just sit there and flip pages and see like what letter holds the most words and then what letter holds the least words, and it's oh my
so
God.
What letter holds the most words?
I think
B?
it's
S. And the least? Z?
I think it's Z
X?
or X. Yeah. I think so, but I could be wrong. It's so long ago.
Wow, I've never heard people doing that. Reading dictionary. Like dictionary isn't even invented for reading, I think.
I don't think so. but it's I don't know. It's actually really interesting because you flip through the words and I love how it's organized.
I get that.
I can't believe I'm outing myself like this. But yeah. So that's what I mean by investing more. Like it's just kind of like unconsciously you are more willing to put time into it, and it's not even studying.
Okay.
You're just fulfilling your own curiosity.
So it's not like something in at least your generation's education system that kind of forced you guys to speak more English. It's more, for your case, it's more because you're interested.
Well, I would also say the culture at that point was very like English speaking is glamorized. So if you can speak English
so
fluently,
we're talking about late 90s, early 2000s.
I would say, well, I'm a late 80s baby. So I would say, yeah, like
90s.
90s, yeah. Yeah. Like, yeah, it's very glamorous to get glamorized. To be able to speak English fluently. And it's like I remember in secondary school, I said something, I think I replied to a teacher's question in front of like however many classes, and I substituted a Chinese word with an English word, but I didn't do it purposely to show off or anything. And then my fellow schoolmates would be like, ooh. So I think it's kind of like glamorized, but in my mind, I'm just like, that word exactly say what I want to say, but I don't quite have the Chinese. But yeah, I think that's also part of the reason why. The glamour.
Because I know in Hong Kong, there's also a lot of international school, and their main language is for sure English. And I also know, I don't know how was it at your generation, but it looks to me a lot of younger generation now, especially when they go to international schools, their English is better than their Chinese, like better than their Cantonese. So that's also quite 很常见. what's 常见?
Common,
yeah, quite common. So I had a really short period of time teaching in a middle school in Hong Kong, and I knew the school was teaching in English throughout for majority of the courses except for Chinese. So I think that's also, I knew a lot of local schools. There's like so many categories about Hong Kong schools, right? And some of them teaches in Chinese and some of them teaches in English, even though it's not an international school.
Right.
But they still teach in English.
Right.
I guess that's also part of the reason why a lot of kids growing up have more English speaking environment.
I guess so, yeah. And until you bring this up, I forgot there is such a thing. So Hong Kong, like secondary schools, I don't know if it's still the case. It used to be like categorized into bands. So like band 1 schools would be like English speaking, except Chinese. You'll take your like open exam in the old days, the HKCE. Like equivalent to the DSE these days in English. But I don't know, some band 2 or band 2, band 3 schools would do that in Chinese. Yeah, so I took my like geography exam and maths exam in English.
It's so difficult to do math in English. No, just accounting takes more time.
But the understanding part, I'm like, I understand the question better.
You know, I still count. Every time I need to count or I need to do a quick math, I'll go back to Mandarin. At work, that's the same. Especially at the gym. Like you need to, right? Because you need to remember how many push-ups you've, not like I can do one, but like with bands, with assistance. And like when you're counting, I hear other people like 1, 2, and I'm like,
Do you know what? I actually heard somebody say that it's normal to count always in your native.
How do French people count? It's not like related to our topic. I just can't help to bring that up.
Yeah. I told you. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So coming back to what we're talking about, would you say, because in the streets you hear a lot of English as well, and if people have been to Hong Kong or live in Hong Kong. Also, I think I kind of mentioned it with Clarissa in last episode. You see a lot of foreigner-looking people in the street, and you hear English everywhere. Would you say, as long as you speak English, you don't really need to learn the local language? You can get away with everything, or like you can get around everywhere?
You get by. I think it depends on your circles. Again, I think if your active area is Hong Kong Island, Discovery Bay, or part of like Southland Town, Cyclone, you get by perfectly. No problem without speaking Cantonese. But I would say if you want to like really get to know the place, go to like explore maybe places in Hong Kong that not even Hong Kong people has gone to, or, you know, or the islands that Hong Kong has to offer. You can't talk to the boatman in English.
That's true.
They probably understand you, but they're not quite equipped to hold a conversation.
Yeah, I guess the communication would be limited a little bit if you don't really speak the local language with them.
And I would say like recently I've seen signs with less bilingual like instructions. I think a lot more I see just Chinese notices or signs.
I think I've seen like in some really local shops where they have little signs about their price or like some notes they have for tourists or for guests. It's majority of them are in Chinese, and when it goes to English, it just got like 5 sentences got shortened to just 1.
Yeah.
That kind of things also happen.
And then sometimes it's like really weird Google Translate.
Yeah. So I guess like I would say it's still very convenient if you only speak English and you're worried about, this is for like English speaking listeners who wants to visit Hong Kong but having concern about the language. But I would say if you already know English and you came to Hong Kong, it's easy enough for you to stay here for a while and get to know the city a little bit. But if you want to build a deeper connection with this place, might as well pick up little Cantonese lines.
Yeah, it'll help.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely. But yeah, 100% doable if you don't speak local language at all.
Cool. And now moving on to the next point. This is also a very interesting point because I was not a sport person at all. I've never been as active. I've never been as active as I have now. That makes sense? Is that grammarly correct?
It doesn't matter. I think it makes sense, perfect sense, but I don't know whether grammar...
Okay, as I think people would understand.
Yeah.
So sports.
Right.
I really feel like sport plays a really big role in people's life in Hong Kong. Like I see people wearing sportswear everywhere. When I say sportswear, it's not activewear. It's not just a legging or like a sports bra. It's not just activewear. It's sportswear, like legit rugby or some sports I can't even name, like with a racket or like a hockey stick. And there's a lot of clubs around. There's not just football club. There's like something, is it a hockey club near where I live? Cricket, yes. I've never seen that sport. And then I see a lot of people wearing those clothes like everywhere. And almost every kid I know in Hong Kong, not just your kids, not just our colleagues' kids. When I was still freelancing for film, I got to know some like kid actresses, and then I have their parents on Instagram, and I look at their parents' Instagram. Each kid plays a sport. Like literally every kid I know in Hong Kong, not much, of course, but they play a sport. So I'm wondering, is this like a culture thing? Like how did you also play different sports?
Growing up, yeah.
Yeah.
I played judo, I played basketball, badminton, and I was in the swim team.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I only got medals from judo and swim.
You got medals for, oh wow.
But yeah. But no, I feel like it's just part of school. Like school here, like they offer so many after school curriculum activities. Like I think it's just part of it. It's just merged into the curriculum in a sense that it's just very common. It's just like you put time into studying and strengthening your brain, and then you also put time in strengthening your body. But I feel like that's childhood. But I feel as a parent, that's what I want for my children. I want them to read as well as move their body, you know, and it's just a healthy thing to do. But I would say in adults culture, it's kind of like, I don't know, Hong Kong's got a weird thing. They're kind of obsessed about losing weight for a bit. And now it's like sort of wellness forward. Yeah. But I'm not big in following that as like, if you don't move 30 minutes a day, then
it's just part of your lifestyle already growing up. But like when kids got to a certain age, would you say like parents would just say, oh, you've got this at school, you can do this sport, you can join or get trained for? Because I'm doing archery as well. The center I've been going to, there's a lot of kids. That's also quite like a new thing to me. And they're not just there for like a play date. They've been there for a long time, and they get even higher score than I am, but we shoot the same distance. Like they're that good. Yeah. Like it looks to me parents are kind of investing in kids playing sport, not just, you know, like not just for fun, not just for building a healthier body, but more like, oh, go to competitions, get medals, you know, building up a kind of
portfolio.
Yeah.
Right. So I think I would say I see a lot of parents wanting to fulfill their children's life with all these different things that, like, I don't know, make them, like make the children not just bookworms, but also build character on how one define themselves, right, when they're older. And I think also, I feel like in Hong Kong, the culture is kind of like you have to play a musical instrument and you have to play a sport.
Did you play a musical instrument growing up?
Oh, yes, I did. I was in the brass band.
What's brass band?
So all the instruments that are made out of brass. So the metal. So all the trumpets and all the
管弦乐团.
Right, yeah.
So I was orchestra,
I was in
brass
percussion.
band. Oh.
So I play all of those in percussion, like all the different drums and anyway. And also I play 古筝.
I played that too for one semester.
Okay. Yeah, I played that for 3 years. Yeah. I don't know why. Like, I don't want to know why. Like, yeah, so I feel like the culture here is very much like you nurture your musical sense and you also nurture your sporty personality. Yeah.
Wow, is that a lot of pressure?
For me, no, because my mum let me choose what I wanted to do and when and how much I want to do it and when to stop. And I always want to jump to the new thing. But I think not every kid is as lucky. I remember I went to school with a girl. Her dad is a pianist. And then all the time she's made to practice playing piano.
Wow.
And I remember before we even graduate primary school, she was already like 演奏級.
Like professional play.
Like performance. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah.
So that exists, but not like.
But I don't like. I think that maybe because her father is a pianist, but also I see that in a lot of different children. Like they get pushed to like you need to play violin, you need to play like piano. I think these two are like the given now. You have to play these, and then if you choose a peculiar instrument, then that's your niche.
Yeah. Okay. I kind of wish I grew up in this environment because where I'm from, I know I believe a lot of people in my generation would resonate with me. Like music and PE class are the two class where other teacher would just say, oh, we've got extra work need to do, so I'm going to take over the music class or the PE class.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it happened a lot.
Those are the most fun classes.
Exactly. That's why school was kind of difficult for us because the fun got taken away and then we just have to skip that class and just stay in the classroom and do math or English or Chinese or history or usually math or English or Chinese, those three. Yeah.
That sucks big time. Our schedules are always like followed. We don't get
right.
Like, not that I remember. Yeah, our classes don't seem to push around like that. But I also feel in Hong Kong, there's a tendency for parents to just stuff the kids' schedule. There's also that kind of extreme, right? But yeah, I think personally, I had a really healthy balance between, all my activities.
That's good. That's really good. Moving on, I'm gonna do. I think this one will be easier. So I remember my first experience in Hong Kong. We were visiting a friend of my dad, and he was driving. I think that's when Tao Man Zi Di Ngam Chale. There's a film.
Initial D, I think it's
Initial
called.
D, yes. It was talking about racing cars, right? Yeah. And then I remember vividly that day in my dad's friend's car, it was just feeling Initial D all the time.
Really?
Yeah, he lives in Tuen Mun.
Okay.
And then he drives us to like Mong Kok, and the whole drive was so smooth. And there's a lot of cars in the street, but they all drive really fast. and they were all in like a certain order and like no accident at all. And then to a point, I don't even need to worry about accident happening because everyone was so fast, but like in really good order, and it was just smooth and fast. Yeah. So I want, because I know you drive, I want to know what's the experience driving in Hong Kong. Because also, for example, if you go to Central, if you go to the peak or like mid-levels, there's a lot of slopes that are, I don't think they're easy to drive.
They're quite steep, yeah.
Yeah. Like, in general, how's driving experience? Would you say it's relatively easy to drive in Hong Kong?
I would just first of all say, as a child in Hong Kong, I thought there's some kind of magnetic thing going on the ground for the cars to go along because they are so orderly. So I feel that I share the same sentiment on the fact that, you know, it seems like everything is so orderly, and I thought there's like a invisible magnetic track that I don't see.
Because also I think because of the space issue we have, a lot of things are so narrow, but the cars can still stay in a perfect order all the time.
Yeah, it looks that way. But I think since I started driving, I realized that's not the case. Because once you start driving, you realize how many crappy drivers there are.
Ouch.
Yeah, so as a pedestrian, you don't see that much detail. So I would say only after I became a driver, then I actually noticed crappy driving habits of people. And then but driving around in Hong Kong has great things. So I used to live in Lantau. So those roads are amazing to drive on. You feel like you're flying. You feel like you're like the freedom that I feel with driving
Is it more like a nature view when you're driving?
Nature, you don't really get to look around.
That's true.
But it's just like because there's not as much traffic lights. So there's not stopping and starting and that kind of thing. But when I drive in town, yes, there are challenges about like those steep slopes and navigating before Google Maps was a thing. I wasn't driving back then, but like I can imagine that before Google Maps was a thing, navigating the what's those called? 单行道.
One-way road?
Yeah, one-way road. Yeah, those would be a pain in the A to navigate. But sometimes Google Maps also make mistakes. So yeah, but I really enjoy the freedom of driving. Yeah.
That's good. Now that you've mentioned one-way road, I've realized I'm just trying to think of the buildings, like the places, the apartments I lived in Hong Kong. They are all on one-way road. No, majority of them are. One was not.
Well, I would imagine because, you know, residential buildings are on less busy roads.
Kinda, yeah.
More like
you kind of need to turn in from the main road to get into.
Yeah, exactly. The
area.
entrance would be, that would make more sense.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, and then also not just driving, when you're saying 单行道 one-way road, when you are waiting for a Uber driver to arrive and you look at the app, you know he took the wrong turn and you're like, alrighty, it's gonna wait for another extra 5 minutes or 10.
Yeah. Oh, so when I first started driving in Hong Kong, there are times when, like, I think when Google Maps was still perfecting the navigation, and sometimes when there's a bridge on top of a road, then you kind of like, do I go on the freaking bridge or not?
That can be difficult.
Yeah, and then I think one of these times I went through a tunnel. Just because I'm like, which one is it? And then I actually went to the road that took me into a tunnel. So I need to find a place, get off the highway, turn back around, come back to the tunnel to the side that I started, and then find the way. But yeah.
I do. I also remembered, like, I was on a friend's car and we were supposed to go, we were on the island. We were in Sai Ying Pun and then we were going to Central. For whatever reason, of course, navigation reason, and add on that the driver wasn't really familiar with the area. And it can get really intense because I was sitting right next to her.
Right.
And I was looking, when you're driving, you're at a certain speed already. And then the signs in front of you, they are huge, but there are a lot.
There's a lot of
And
information.
it's difficult for you to find the right path.
Yes.
The right
lane. Yeah.
Like within how many seconds. And then we just went through the Western Tunnel. We went to the Kowloon side and then we took the tunnel back and then we turned back to Central.
Yeah.
But it can be really intense if you're not familiar enough with the route you're...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like in Cantonese, we say 交學費.
Yeah.
You
Like
kinda
you're
just,
paying
like,
a tuition fee for the mistake.
to learn.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
Fun.
yeah, fun little things.
Fun.
But I have heard people from other countries who like been driving for years and start driving in Hong Kong and saying like it's so hectic driving in Hong Kong because of course there's so many cars and so such narrow roads as you say, and Hong Kong is known to be quite a small city with too many cars and people, and so it is very hectic for them. But I'm like, this is what I know. This is what I grew up with.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? But I can absolutely understand because I've driven in other countries as well.
Yeah.
And I absolutely understand like how hectic it can become when there are 6 lanes and 3-4 different exits or different lanes that you take to different directions, locations, destinations. That's the word I was looking for. Then as you said, like within a few seconds, like how do you make that decision? So yeah, I think I can understand, and it can get quite overwhelming.
I'm planning to get my driver's license next year.
Okay.
We'll see how that goes.
Okay.
We'll see where that would take me to.
I've got a teacher to recommend you.
Oh, please.
Yeah, he's like the no BS kind of.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. The last the last misconception about Hong Kong. Hong Kong girls are very confident. They have this confident image. I don't like to judge people from their judge a book from its cover. I don't like to judge people from their appearance. But there's also a saying, 相由心生 in Chinese. It's like the way you look, it's from the inside of you. It's not just the outside of it. So let's look at you for a second.
Hello.
If you don't mind. You've got orange hair.
Yeah.
Like literally orange hair.
Yeah.
In a one-piece green little dress.
Yeah.
Very cute.
Thank you.
And your skin color, it's so healthy. I love that.
Like olive skin.
Yeah.
That's what people say.
And it just matches your dress so well.
Thank you.
And you look confident to me.
Oh my gosh. I think
Would you say if you walk in the street in Hong Kong, you would be able to identify if a girl is from Hong Kong or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think I have that ability too.
I don't know if it's because of the confidence or the style.
I think it's the confident.
I think it's the style.
But like, if you look at the style, I think you really need to look into the details to separate if it's Hong Kong girl or not Hong Kong girl.
I disagree, but okay.
Really?
Yeah. No, I'm like, I feel like I can tell.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I can tell. And like how they hold themselves, the mannerism.
How they hold themselves.
Yeah, their mannerism, how they stand, how they sit, and the way they talk.
That's not style. That's...
No, like maybe not the way they talk, because then you also hear the language. But I would say like mannerism, like how they hold themselves, how they lift their hand, how they walk, how they sit, their posture.
Okay.
That kind of thing as well. As well as the style. But anyway.
Would you say they are more on a kind of edgy style?
Hong Kong?
Or how would you describe their style? your style?
My style, I've always kind of just wear whatever I feel confident in, of what I'm
Wherever
confident.
you feel confident in.
Confident or comfy in, I think, yeah. But also as I grow older, I'm also like, 100% just whatever I'm comfy in, what I feel like, you know. I think that's just me. But I do see there's a bit of a trend in Hong Kong of like how Hong Kong girls dress. Because I feel like Hong Kong people generally are obsessed with Japanese culture, Japanese style.
Yeah, we talked about that with Cece as well.
Yeah.
Like why like Hong Kong people would describe going to Japan as in they're going back to their
home.
hometown. Yeah, I'm like why?
返鄉下.
Yeah, 返鄉下, exactly.
But so there's like the majority, I would say, the style is influenced by Japan, and it's quite nice.
It is.
It is quite nice to see how they adopt the style locally, and because it's not just their clothes, it's also how they do their makeup and how they do their hair and all of those as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say Hong Kong women, girls take pride in how they look. We take time into, like, you know, dressing ourselves.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think a lot of Hong Kong girls I knew, they are comfortable in the way they look, and they are maybe proud it's a bit too much, but they're definitely loving what they choose to wear and what kind of makeup they choose to put on, or no makeup, or what kind of skin tone they choose to keep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I do think we really, I would say we really take pride. We take our time to figure what suits, and with that comes to being comfortable in our skin.
I want to connect a little bit to the previous misconception about sports. Do you think growing up doing a lot of sports actually helps with that?
Helps with like a
how you choose
healthy
your appearance, self-image.
I would think so. I would think so.
I think so too.
Because when you're doing sports, you get to know your body. You get to know your body very well because your body is serving you for certain purposes. So yeah, I would think so. You know how to hold yourself, like what it means to have your shoulders down and not hunch over, and you know, all these kind of things. So yeah.
I'm gonna add on one last little misconception. Hong Kong girls love luxury brands.
I don't think it's a misconception. I mean, personally, I'm not someone who chase luxury brands. For a while, I didn't even have an iPhone. I think if you just walk on the streets in Hong Kong, you do see a lot of people holding really fancy handbags and clothes and shoes and everything, and it's not a misconception, and is part of the culture, and is part of is what it says about you. And when you want to be in certain social cliques, you want to look like each other, and that's just human nature, right? And when you have nice things on you, people associate you with success. So I think ultimately we all want to just look confident,
of course,
and look like we are successes walking around. So I think that's just like, you know, a little trophy.
It's you do see a lot of that kind of girls in the street, but of course it's not like everyone. It's that. I still know girls who are so happy, so satisfied with their tote bag.
Same.
Right?
Literally carrying a tote bag everywhere. But
yeah. And also my experience, like the first couple years when I arrived in Hong Kong and I go outside, walk in the streets, not even really a shopping mall, just like shopping area, and then you look around, a lot of them are branded, like they are good brands around. Like that's just the option you have around. You don't really, you might need to pay extra, have extra effort to look for not that famous brand products if you want to go that route in a way.
Yeah. Actually,
right?
yeah. Because I remember when I was younger, when I first started working, like I still want like a nice leather bag, right?
Yeah.
But I don't want those ones with monograms and like a big logo or brand name slapped on it, right? And so, yeah, I remember going out of my way to find a nice leather bag that's not like got a huge logo slapped on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's, again, when you first start working, you kind of like, it could be part of your goal. Like, I want to make this much money or save this much money to buy a nice bag as a reward for myself to have worked so hard, you know. But yeah, I forgot our point, sorry.
I don't think we're encouraging people to buy luxury brands. We're just saying like...
No, I think it's just a...
If you have that financial ability to afford one and you want to, you know, like reward yourself.
Yeah, do your thing.
Yeah, do it. Like,
do your thing. It's no judgment from us at all.
Yeah.
It's just, a misconception or a trend that we do see here. And also... I would also say, because Hong Kong is such a safe city.
That's true.
You're not worried about mugging either.
Yeah.
That's why we hear so many Hong Kong people after going to holiday, wherever they go, they get mugged because you carry your LV, your Gucci around.
They're kind of showing off a little bit. It can be received as they're showing off.
Perceived, yeah.
Perceived, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It can be, it can be understood that way, but in Hong Kong, it's just so normal.
And I want to also say one more thing. I saw this post on the internet and there were people saying whenever they see someone on the metro, on the MTR, on the subway, however you call it, wearing a luxury brand bag, they would think the bag is fake. I used to think that way.
Right.
And then after I got to Hong Kong and then I start to kind of know the price of those luxury bags and the lifestyle people have in Hong Kong. And I'm like, you can totally get a luxury brand bag and still go in, like
the
taking MTR
every
every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like you got money to buy a luxury brand bag and then you got money to afford yourself in taxis every day, taxis every day, or you got your own car every day. It's not like public transportation. I don't think there's a clash between taking public transportation with having, you know, branded.
I don't think there's a clash. There's no judgment from me. Realistically, though, for me, I don't see the value in buying a pricey bag and run after a bus.
I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because to me, let's chase after buses in a pair of sensible shoes instead of your pretty whatever shoes that might come off when you're running.
I think it's just about how you choose your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like,
for sure.
Whatever you want to chase a bus in, or like, I don't think people love chasing buses, honestly. But
it's such a second nature for Hong Kong people.
I've never chased a bus in Hong Kong.
Sorry, you've never?
I've never.
Okay. I don't know.
Because I know I don't need to wait too long for the next bus to come. Well, no, I take that back. I know it would take long to wait for a next bus to come, but then I would probably go for another transportation option.
I think it's because you didn't grow up here, like as a kid, or like maybe even a teenager. When you get somewhere, you're either running late or you just on time. So you can't afford to miss the bus. Yeah.
We're going a bit too far. Yeah.
But yeah.
But I think we can kind of end this episode here.
Yeah.
We just casually talked about some misconceptions I had or other people on the internet had for Hong Kong. And my idea behind this kind of episodes, it's really just to show more sides of Hong Kong and like the real Hong Kong I lived in, you lived in, and
Absolutely.
we see, or we're interested in, or we love, and we want to share. So I hope people enjoy this episode. I forgot how I did this in English last time. So I hope people enjoy this episode, and feel free to share this episode and share our podcast out to your friends. And don't forget to subscribe. If you have anything you want to say, you can comment, or you can go to our social media, including Facebook, Instagram. We're also on 小红书. Send us a DM, send us a message.
You have to like everything as well, please. Like, follow, subscribe.
Oh, you're so good at this. And we're also kind of on Patreon if you want to kind of support us in a more realistic way.
Show us the money. I'm just kidding.
We also have a WeChat listeners group if you want to join. To do that, you just need to find our phone operator on WeChat. Her ID, it's One Call Away Podcast, and then she will send you directions on how to join the group. I think that's all. Thank you so much, Crystal.
Thank you for having me.
We'll probably see you next time.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.